was in corporate purchasing many years ago, and we always talk to our suppliers. Some people call it total cost of ownership. Some people call it total value. But how do you pull people away from first price? What is the difference between selling value and selling price? And what does that mean when I was a purchasing agent in the chemical space? And what does that mean when I'm trying to sell my company's services as a recruiter today? That's a great start. Everybody talks about value, and everybody talks about how price is important, but what's more important is value, right? Why do people buy Mercedes-Benzes when a Volkswagen will do just fine? People buy it because it's so darned expensive compared to my Nissan Versa 2017, which cost me $10,000. True story, by the way. Okay. Why? And the answer is because they ascribe a value to it. Well, do people do the same thing when they do a corporate bid? If you're LyondellBasell, and I won't say the number, right? But if you're a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded chemical manufacturing firm, or if you're a way smaller than that headhunting firm, how do you tap in to people's desire to buy a high valued product versus a low cost product? Why do people buy Rolexes versus Timexes?
Yeah.
Because I can go to Walmart and buy a watch that's pretty decent for well under $20. Well under 20. Probably closer to 10. Probably closer to 10.
It's all the optics on things. Look, when I did our wrestling program, when I took it over, it would look like, they would give us the uniforms. It looked like the old school gym stuff, the great t-shirt you write your name on, a pair of black shorts and a singlet that looks like it was 50 years old. Well, didn't matter how good the kids were. Nobody took them serious. Nobody was intimidated by anybody. So the next time, next year when I came in, I went to a brand that outfits all the top colleges, the Olympic team, everything like that. Now we walk into the room and automatically we get respect and people look at us different, like we know what we're doing now.
Love it. See, and that's something that Sean could write on, right? That's something that Sean could write on. It's like, why do optics matter? Total cost of ownership, think of a car, right? I bought a $10,000 Nissan Versa. What if the transmission sucked? Well, there goes another $3,000. What if my tires suck? There's $1,000. Oh, what if my engine sucks? Ooh, there's $4,000 or $5,000, right? So first cost was great, but total cost of ownership, because it's a piece of garbage Nissan, which it's not. I love my Versa. Don't make no mistake. I love me some Nissan Versa. Okay. But you understand what I'm saying. You see the difference, Brian, between first cost and total cost of ownership? Or let's just say I buy an Audi, which I will never, but let's say I buy an Audi and I'm convinced that, man, if I buy this Audi, I'll never have to drop a nickel on maintenance for the first 10 years I own it. Not one nickel. All I got to do is fill it up with gas, change the oil, and that's it. Well, maybe that Audi's worth $25,000 versus that $10,000 Nissan. Maybe. So it's about the total cost of ownership. If I'm looking for a car to last me 12, 13 years, maybe I will buy that Audi. Maybe I will buy that Audi. And that's all total cost of ownership is. It's just an equation. Or it's just how you ascribe value. When you talk about the total value or the total cost of ownership of using a recruiter or not using a recruiter, you have to balance a couple things out in your mind as a potential buyer of recruiting services. Balance out the first cost, that initial fee that makes your heart jump as a hiring firm, versus the cost of a bad hire. If you get a bad hire very cheaply and that bad hire costs you money for the first 4 to 6 months of that tenure before you fire that person, then there's a cost. Also, if it takes you a long time to fill a role, doing it your regular, cheaper way, what's the cost of not having that job filled? What business are you losing? What production are you losing because that role is unfilled? What environmental liability are you exposing your firm to because that role is unfilled? And you have to balance that out against a longer, drawn-out hiring process where you're going through hundreds and hundreds of resumes versus going to a professional recruiter who might streamline that process to make it much quicker, but at a higher cost, no question.